Otherwise, we lose.
How is, I think very much the registration of a population is related to school, to education, to get children to school and so on. So, how is the situation? What is the population control system in Tanzania? Do you know where people live? Do they have some kind of ID that you can trace someone?
Yeah, actually that one is quite difficult because even the registration of birth, it occurs in very few children. As I wrote in my thesis, nearly 16% of under 5 children are the ones who find that are registered in civil registration, and they only few of them obtain the birth certificates. So it's not easy to track them from. But from school registration, yes, for those who are able to reach the school age and being registered, then it's possible to get a number of children who are registered in different schools in the country, and then you can know how much children of this age. Yeah.
Can you have some support from the NGOs who run a lot of schools, churches, and so on? Is there a good collaboration between the public system and the NGOs?
Yeah, I think it's possible to get actually from the NGOs. Yeah, because some of the NGOs are working with the children, but it depends what kind of children they are working on. Mostly the NGO are working with, let's I can say, orphanage, yeah, in different areas and different programs. Not that they include all children within the area. But within actually the system, if it could have been followed up, there is supposed to be registered birth and death within the villages, and then give reporting to the higher authorities. But this mechanism has hardly been followed up because there has no kind of feedback mechanism. That's why most of these births which occur within the villages or death are not well being reported up. So this is what even the report which I cited in my paper when I talked about the registration has informed this. Yeah.
So this is really interesting for someone who live and work a lot in the south of Sahara. And for instance, how many of the children in Tanzania now get school? Elementary school, higher school? How many percent?
Yeah, now actually, according to the government system now, it's most of children, I can say nearly more than 80%, now they get elementary schools. Yeah.
Because that is very different from Malawi, which is one of the really poor countries, where we have maybe only half of the children get good school now.
Yeah, that's after the Millennium Development Goals. Yeah. Tanzania had a target of building schools in each villages and in all areas to make sure that all children are getting school. And those who were not able to get to school at younger age, they are now allowed to go to school, which they call it like a higher late school for those who are late. So even if they are 15 years, then they go to school and started to be taught. Yeah.
Because there is a huge difference between, I think maybe Tanzania is somewhere between Malawi and Zimbabwe here, because I've been quite a lot in Zimbabwe the last couple of years, and what we can see is that when they get some more political peace, they are rapidly coming up again to higher quality of a lot of things in the society, because they had a very good school situation before things went bad. That means when people can read and write and have the basic skills, they have the basic ground school, things are improving a lot faster than it will do in a very poor country without schools. So that is something that it has a big impact on exactly what we are talking about. And then my next question, of course, in a way, my only criticism of your thesis, as you as a pediatrician, you're very much engaged in what happens to those children we catch. And there are quite a number we do not catch. So that's where maybe something we can discuss for future studies. And I would like to bring in the concept of family planning. Because we talk a lot about the outcome of pregnancy for those who we have. But we have talked very little about parity. Just as an example from Malawi, people get a lot of children because they believe that you will lose a lot of them anyway. So then you make a critical mass of children just so some of them should survive. Shouldn't we turn it completely around to start family planning at young age? Now I need to tell you anecdote number 2 before you answer. I've been working at the Philippines the last year a little bit, and one of my plans there has been to work with the University of Bohol. It's a small island in the south of the Philippines. And maybe you know that Philippines has 7,000 islands with 100 million people, so even a small island has 1 million people. And my suggestion for the dean was that we should create a program in reproductive health. And of course the dean was positive, and I started to plan. And the rumors spread, and one day there was a telephone, and I have to tell you the background. The Philippines, there are maybe almost 90% of the population, they are Catholics, very conservative Catholics. And the telephone was from the bishop, and he told me, well, Professor, I heard you are starting to destroy my young people. Yes, and then you must stop immediately, because you are teaching them about sex. I said, I'm not sure if you understood it, because I think to learn about sex, they will surely learn that in a very basic way themselves. I'm trying to teach them about the reproductive responsibility, how to prevent problems, prevent infections, prevent unwanted pregnancies. No, because they should not be taught such nonsense, because if you teach them, they will do it. So that's where it stands at the moment. The church is really sabotaging what I do. But so I'm not the most popular person in the Catholic Church in the Philippines, but a lot of the teenagers, they like what we do. So there is something, I'm very happy I'm not a politician there, because you don't need to be popular. You need to do something that is good for health. So back to, how would you make up a good family planning here now? What is the situation in Tanzania? What is the mean parity of the ladies? How many children do they normally?
Currently is 5.
5, yes?
Yeah. 5 children per woman.
Oh, that's quite high. I think it's in Malawi it's 7 or 8, because that's where they have this critical mass, they call it. Do you know what it is in Italy and Spain these days? No? You should read a little about the reproductive health also in Europe, because that is becoming interesting now. They have really stopped to reproduce themselves. They're down to 0.4 or something like that. Am I right? Yeah, 0.5, yes. And they're simply not reproducing. You know, and it has to do with a lot of crisis, you know. The boys, they live with their mama until they are 35 years old, you know, and then who would like to marry such a guy who is living with mama until you are 35? So that's a big problem now. So that's the perspective on the opposite side, you know. So if we can start to get things up to at least around 2 or 2.5, that we can reproduce ourselves without destroying anything. We need the young people, you know. But where would you start the family planning? How would you do it?
Yeah, we have to start the family planning from when children are in adolescent age, at least to teach them to control, so that they should have unwanted pregnancy, because this is also having a high consequence and poor prenatal outcomes. And if they get early pregnancy, to know that they cannot even continue further with their studies, it becomes a burden even to the parents or to themselves. So I think it's good to start family planning from adolescent age and teaching them. And we are not advising them to go and do sex, but we are telling them to be protective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Responsibility.
And what you have done actually, like in KCLC, within the birth registry, reproductive, because it's a reproductive, within that building of the Beth Regis, we have a room which you call it for young age counseling. So we get some young age children, girls and boys who need some advice. So we counsel them on different kinds of sexual transmitted disease and even some ways of preventing themselves, include also even family planning. And now when I was at home, I see my hospital director has taken this one seriously about the family planning, and he was discussing now to find a real room for even for those who are coming after delivery and whatever, so that they can get extensive family counseling, for them to be to get family planning, because we were discussing about the issue of increasing pregnancy complications and increasing workload within the hospitals, so that we can try to see how much possible we can reduce all this burden of women who are getting pregnant with just after a short time and increasing high risk of mortality, or those who are getting very young. So we are discussing of doing it further.
Yeah. So in a way, there is one target group that you can say those who are coming into the hospital with complications. That's where you really can inform them, to educate them to do that before they go home. Is that so? But what about the schools? How can we educate those adults?
Yes, we can do also. I know that you have some community-based groups which are doing some kind of also counseling and even some kind of teaching. But I don't know how much extensive are they doing it and how much they need within the area. So that one I cannot say.
So then a practical implementation of this. How would you access the villages? What kind of worker should do that? Should it be a fancy gynecologist? Should it be a midwife? Should it be a nurse? Who should really be the persons who can really get in contact with the risk persons, the boys and girls?
Yeah, I think training nurse, midwife, and even some people from the community, like community volunteers, they can do much because they are so trustable within the community, and maybe they can bring much of the change when they teach and counseling, and it might bring up more effect than taking a doctor just to the community and start counseling. It will not be taken as positive as somebody from the community.
Good. So what I think you might understand from my comments now, I'm not so concerned about your results, because they are good, they are reliable. My friend Jakobsen, he will talk about all these methodology issues. I think it's very good, updated, to the point. My concern is those who are not in the registry.
Yes,
all the people who we would like to introduce to make this a real population study. And also how we can get access to the villages. And you say that you can educate people at the lower level. I think that's very correct. And if you could make some kind of projects where you educate people at the midwife, nurse level, assisting them. And there might be some differences. I don't know Tanzania from the rural side. How many people in Tanzania live in the big cities and how many live in the rural areas?
Yeah, actually, majority of the population live in rural areas.
Yeah. Because in Malawi, I think it's between 80 and 90% are rural.
Yeah.
So it's the same in Tanzania. Yeah. So that's really a challenge where how to get them.
Yes, I think I should have taken that one very positively and try to think it for the future, start on how to reach this community and how to get much better of the counseling within the community, especially family planning counseling involving the young age group.
Yeah.
So I think I have to take it seriously and try to think on how to go with it.
I know you will go home to Tanzania now to work as a pediatrician. You have some big challenges there. I want to follow you strictly. So then a question about what is the situation with HIV now? what is the situation, for epidemiologic part? Is it going up or down? What consequences will it have for the pregnancy, and not least for the young children and the children all the way up to adolescent age?
Yeah, epidemiological prevalence actually is going down. Yeah.
Is it because of the treatment?
That's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
Because of the maybe availability of treatment, and also increasing awareness to people.
Yeah.
And also now because the stigma is somehow reducing, not seriously as it was before, because now they know they can get treatment and they can continue living well. But still I'm worried that because of the treatment and even this one who are looking better with the treatment, maybe even going underground the source of infections to other people, and you might even have maybe some higher prevalence in some times.
I really hope all of you listen to this, because this is what we know, that if we start to improve, we have got some medication, we start to relax a little bit, and that's the time we really should push the effort to have this reproductive health. That is, and so if we can do that, then we will really, I'm sure we can get this HIV epidemic drastically down if we do not relax, go back to some of the old behavior and so on. But what happens to tuberculosis in this connection? Do you have any information about that?
Yeah, tuberculosis with HIV, I know that HIV is a risk actually for tuberculosis. Yeah, and
there are twins.
The tuberculosis had increased
Yeah.
rate after the HIV infection within Tanzania. Yeah, and I think in most of the areas, because of the immune system going down, and then the infection gets go up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can discuss this. It's a little out of our scope, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
very
okay.
important connected to the HIV,
It's true.
because that's the big killer coming up now. Because
Yes, that's
of the
why
HIV.
now they
Yeah.
make them together, that whenever they should be interlinked the program, not separating them
Yeah.
because of this.
They really should. And the other thing is that we get the big new population now of small children turning up to adolescent who are HIV positive. They live they died before they got old enough, but now we have a new population of people who are carrying their infection. And of course that has a lot to do with their complications in life, diseases, growth patterns. Do you have any comments on that?
Yes.
How should we do it?
Yeah, I know. I'm running actually the adolescent group of HIV. This is the group I started shortly before I came to Norway. And who have HIV adolescents, we are following them up. And now some of them are looking nicely, improving. And we are so worried because we see the behavior also in them, that they may be even a form of infection to other population, but and being a source of infection to other people, because now they are not looking at HIV. And to other age that some of them actually are dying early if they are not adhere well to the antiretroviral treatment because of the TB infections. That is one of the major issues, and other opportunistic infections coming in. Yeah.
You see, I have two pictures in my mind. I'm sorry, I should have shown them to you.
Yeah.
One is two brothers, one is 16 and one is 6. One is HIV positive, 16. The other is 6 and he is negative.
Yeah.
They are exactly the same size.
It's true. Yeah.
So to live with HIV from you are a child, it has enormous consequences for your life, for your health status. This should be a really new project for Southern Africa to take care to improve the health of these young people.
Yeah, it's true.
And the other one, also a little bit on the side, but I have a picture from Malawi of two brothers again. One is 3 years and one is 6 months. And the one is 6 months, he is much bigger than the one in 3 years. And can you guess why?
Yeah, because 1 in 3 years actually has stunted and maybe poor nutrition because of the
It's grown up on mice, but the other one is has
the other one is growing well because it's
breastfeeding. Of
yeah.
course. So that's an argument for breastfeeding. I'm not a fundamentalist, as Gerd tried to tell me, but there's really something that the breastfeeding, how important it is for the baby. And I'm sure you have that, bring that with you as a pediatrician. Well, to start to go for landing now, I have some very crucial questions at the end for you now. And as I told you, I'm so happy with what you write. I'm more concerned about what you are not writing about. So how, if you just leave the pregnancy totally without any intervention of medical persons, how many percent of the pregnancies would just go up without any problems?
Yeah, as I said, nearly 15% are the one which are expected to get complications.
Exactly.
That means the 85% will go out totally without.
But this is also an answer with a lot of confounders.
Yeah, it's true.
Because if you have a population that is very healthy, good nutrition, everything, maybe we are down to 10% who are the risk population. But if you have a population with a bad health, malnutrition, anemia, of course, and lack of minerals and so on, so that the high risk is normally higher, maybe 20-25%. So that's where we really should push the pressure. And how do you find the risk pregnancies in Tanzania?
Yeah, actually, the risk pregnancies, first, they have to be identified through the antenatal care clinics. Yeah, that is the real first
if they are coming to
yeah, that's why I say that is a real area. If they are coming,
Yeah.
and it depends, they come at what time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of them may come once and don't come later on, and then they develop a problem. And also, may come even more than 4 times, but it's not easy to. Some of the risk happens during labor and delivery, cannot be identified before pregnancy. That is another challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how would you manage this problem in the rural side of Tanzania?
Yeah, what I think, at least even some of the risk comes unexpected, but I think educating those pregnant women, if they come to the clinic or if it's through a community program, at least to be aware that there are some complications which may happen during pregnancy, yeah, so that they can be prepared, and even telling them that some of the complications may happen even during labor and delivery with a normal, ongoing pregnancy. So
we are doing some of the studies now in Malawi. I would like to share with you in the field when we discuss about the future work. And we are talking about the Malawian women critically assess the quality of care and the perception of perinatal care and also prenatal care at the district hospitals. We have some very bad outcomes here because many places, those who work at the hospitals, they are not so good at talking to people. And of course, there are some rumors or some stigma we need to kill as soon as possible. If you go to a hospital, of course, some of them are treated badly. Then they go home to the village, tell this is not the place to go for you. And of course, to be offered a pregnancy care, that is to be offered. It's not a law that you should do. So you might even go through a pregnancy without any single consultation. And so in a way, not to make a law, but to really to get it positive. You know what they say in Douala a few years ago in Lilongwe, the biggest hospital, we had 18,000 deliveries per year. You know, so when last year I walked slowly through the delivery department, there had popped out 5 babies when I was just walking there. So that's the way. It's a little bit different from our Norwegian situation. So this and what they say, the mothers, of course they come in there, but they are very afraid because most of them are in such a bad situation when they come. It's very difficult to save them because this maternal mortality is mostly in the hospital. And mostly because they are in such a bad situation, they have been bleeding, anemic, infections, everything. Maybe the liver process for a week before we even see them. But they die in hospital, and then they bring back the news to the village that don't go to hospital because you die there. So that's what we get out of some of this research. We really need to break some of the stigma here. And one of them is that how to get the women into care. So we have some other like this. Why do some of them fail to give birth at health facilities? And now we are not into your very nice quantitative research anymore. We are into the more qualitative part of this. And to get the good science out of this for future research, we need to combine this registry, quantitative research, with qualitative discussion. Why and how do we catch them? Because we want to offer them the best quality pregnancy before the delivery. And then, of course, it's much easier for you to handle the bad condition babies. So this is something you really need to do to fulfill this picture also in your work. So we do some of this now, and I really hope we can discuss more of it in the time to come. So how could we solve this in your side? Let me see. I want you to give some comments. This is something we are working on now in Malawi, and how to. And what we did, it's not me as a gynecologist to go to the chief of the village. You know, he will look at me as an, they look at me as an albino in Malawi. So, and you know the situation for albinos in the south of Africa. You know, if they boil me a few days, it could cure everything if you drink the juices, you know. So whenever I see a medicine man, I try to walk very quickly around him. So that is the situation for me in Southern Africa. But we have started to educate. We have a fantastic midwife who is running this project in Chirasuru. And she is teaching assistants to go out in the villages, and she is personally talking to the chief of the village. We are making it cool to have a pregnancy care. Not because we're not telling people that you have a risk. We want it to be fancy and cool to come to the district health center. And then they might get some ultrasound, maybe a little small picture of the baby and such things. It means a lot. So those small things together could make up a very nice project to really improve the situation for those who are not in your study. Yeah. So that's my last comment. I'm very happy that we could do this very interesting discussion, and I really look forward to more discussions with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy for you sharing with me the activities you are doing at Malawi, and I think I have to carry some of them with me effectively to think how much I can also do nearly similar things in Tanzania, see how much we can save.
That's my last comment now. Because we are very few but enthusiastic people working with this, the care of the mother and the baby. And we should work together. We should share everything.
That's true.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to the first opponent. Now we take 5 minutes break, and please be back. And if you have questions, explanatory, just come and tell me. 5 minutes.